Hello and welcome to the Two-Man Power Trip Wrestling. My host, JP John Paz. With me today, very special guest, former WWE superstars. Any two-man with hands can, join the fight, if you will. They have a fighting chance, if you will. Here's Mr. James Ellsworth. James, welcome in. How you doing? Are you still with us? Lost you there for a second. Are you?
Yeah, like
Can you hear me?
I get a phone call and it knocks it out. I hate that. Yeah. So, but here we are.
No problem. So, joining us right now, obviously a little bit of a technical delay there, but any man with two hands has a fighting chance. Former WWE superstar James Ellsworth. James, what's going on?
I'm chilling, man. Just sitting here at my house, watching some Monday Night Raw and some Orioles baseball back and forth.
Nice. Yankees recently beat the Orioles 2 out of 3, which was nice for me, but not so nice for you. But that was a pretty good
Well,
series.
they're 3-3 on the year against each other. The Orioles had a lot of injuries. They're bouncing back though. They're going to catch that seventh wild card, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, there's so many playoff spots. You're really never really out of it, unless you trade away everybody on the team. But you're never really out of it in baseball.
Yeah, I don't think the Orioles are going to be traders right now. Well, they're going to win tonight because they're up 6-0. So they're like 6 games out of that final wild card spot. I really think they could do it if they start winning a lot, like they have been recently. So
Yeah, they got a good squad. It's kind of baffling that they started out so bad, but that it's baseball, I guess, for you.
a lot of injuries, man. Like half our starting rotations on the injured, and then we didn't have like Westberg at the beginning of the year. We didn't have Calzer at the beginning of the year. It's a lot of injuries. They were very injury prone this year, but it happens, and it's a long season, and I think they'll bounce back. So,
And trading away Burns, probably not the best idea either.
well, they didn't trade him away. He was a free agent, and
Well,
he won.
letting him go away, yeah, letting him get away, yeah.
Yeah, he got injured. He's out for the year. So I mean,
Oh, I didn't even notice.
I
I didn't
don't think it
see
had
that.
much.
Oh, so wow, so maybe it did work out good for them.
Yeah, and he wanted to go to Arizona to play where he lives, so he went to the Diamondbacks,
I
and
can't
that's
blame him. Yep. Wow, I didn't even see that he was out for the year. Holy crap! Well, good thing you didn't have him then. Damn, that would have been a catastrophe. You would have paid him all that money for nothing. Good thing though, because you would have lost all that money for nothing for Burns. So it almost worked
right.
out
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah. You never know with baseball. These guys get paid so much money, right? And then it's guaranteed, so they get hurt. Like all of a sudden, they still getting paid, but they're not playing. It's crazy. It's mind boggling me how that how much these athletes get paid, and good for them. They're the best in the world at what they do, and but if they get hurt, like they still get paid. It's like that guaranteed money. It's so crazy to me, but it is what it is.
Especially baseball, man, it's nuts. Yeah. So what is going on in your world, in the world of wrestling? What have you been up to? What's going on?
Oh man, I'm doing a lot. So since I left WWE and my last appearance for them was October 2018. I did the SmackDown 1000 episode, and ever since then, man, I run my own promotion, ACW. If you go to acwtix.com, you'll see all the shows we have coming up. That's been going very well. I wrestle in the independents all the time. I do a lot of Comic Cons, conventions. I just keep hustling and keep rolling and keep doing my thing. And I'm really enjoying it. Like I'm on my own schedule. And I'm working a lot, and it's been great. Like being in like a former WWE wrestler, or superstar as they say, and going to the independents afterwards. It's not scary anymore. There's so much to do, and as long as you build good relationships with people and get yourself out there as much as possible and do good business, like you can work, seemingly the rest of your life. If you're a former WWE personnel that did some memorable stuff on their television, which I was very lucky and fortunate to do. It's a lot to do here in the independents.
Very memorable, right? I mean, you had the fighting chance, if you will. James Ellsworth shocked the world, got over, beat AJ Styles a few times. So pretty good to get out there on the independents to have that in your back pocket on the resume.
Of course, I got the best of both worlds of WWE. I got the little babyface run with AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose, and the any man with two hands has a fighting chance, and eliminating Braun Strowman at Survivor Series and all that. And then I got the heel run with Carmela when I was essentially a heel manager, and so I got to show both sides, babyface character and a heel character. So in the independents, man, I do both. I'll wrestle babyface sometimes, or I'll wrestle heel, and it's fun. I still love it. I still enjoy it. I'm pretty sure at some point you'll see me pop up on WWE again, out of nowhere doing something fun. Because I stay busy, I stay healthy, and they see that. And yeah, I love it, man. I've been doing it for 23 years. I'm 40 years old. I've been wrestling since I was 17, and on any level, I just really enjoy it. So
Crazy, that long in the business. Wow, you think about it, man, that went by in a flash, right? '02 to 2025. Crazy.
unbelievably fast. Like I said, man, I love it so much. Like I really enjoy what I do. Um, hopefully I have at least 10 more years left in the tank. I don't see myself wrestling in my 50s. I can always be a manager like I was with Carmela. I got to look for it, like the sleazy manager look, and I could talk, and like I have it on my resume that I did it at WWE, and with Carmela it worked so well. And she wound up, obviously, I helped her win Money in the Bank, and then she wound up
Yep.
cashing in and become a champion. So me being her manager paid off for her, and it paid off for us. So that the angle worked, the us together worked because it got her to the belt. So I have that on the resume, and I can do that forever. I look at guys like Paul Heyman are still out here doing his thing as a manager. Um, you know, Paul Ellering's been brought back several times. And he's probably pushing 70 or in his 70s or whatever.
Yep.
So there's a lot of longevity with that, and I know that. And I'm only 40 now. Maybe I need to get a little older before they'll bring me back to do something like that. But I feel like going forward in my future, I have another run left to do that. So hopefully I'm correct and I get another little thing out of it. But if not, man, like I said, I really enjoy pro wrestling on any level, whether it's at an indie show or WWE or what have you. I love it so much, and and like I said, I run my own shows as well, so I like doing that. Um, so I'm always going to be a part of it. I feel like.
How do you get in to WWE? Like as far as when you did it, pretty Jimmy Dreams out there doing the indies. How does it become James Ellsworth and get into WWE to begin with? Like how does that even happen?
Well, man, my story's a lot different. Everybody's story's different, right? Mine
Right.
is very different. Like I didn't get handpicked off the indies or off of like a college. I don't know, like the way they're doing it now, like picking a college athletes.
Yes.
Like I was an independent wrestler, a journeyman, as they say, and when they would come to my area, I would sign up to be an extra, which if you're a local wrestler, anyone can do that. Sign up to be an extra in WWE, which means like if they need you to be a security guard or like a part of the show as a security guard, or
Right.
somebody to get beat up real quick, or like they had the Rosebuds with Adam Rose, who I was one of them at one point, like all of that, and so I would always sign up to do that. And sometimes I would get the call to go, and sometimes I wouldn't. So the one day we're in Pittsburgh, July 25th, 2016, and they're like, they all of us line up, all the guys that were there being extras. So like, yeah, somebody's going to get a match with Strowman. We want to see y'all throw punches, and then we'll pick the guy to have the match with Strowman. And I was the first one to throw a punch, and Arn Anderson, he was the agent for the match. He goes, I don't need to see anybody else. I'm going to give you the match. I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
Whoa.
So I do the match, and I get to the back, and Arn's like, man, you did a great job. Vince wants to see you. I said, Vince wants to see me. I've never met Vince McMahon in my life up to this point. And I was scared because when you're an extra back in those days, you're not allowed to walk down the ramp before the match. Like you're supposed to walk like around the ramp and down to the ring, and I didn't do that. And when I got in the ring, the referee's like, "Why did you walk down the ramp?" I'm like, "Oh no," but I still did everything like I was supposed to do. And I got to the back, and I was like, "Vince wants to see me. Oh my god, he's gonna yell at me for walking down the ramp, and I'm never gonna be allowed here again." That's what was going
Right.
through my mind. And
Yep.
I get up to Gorilla where Vince is at, and he does this to me, and I go over there, and he takes his headset off, and he stands up. He goes, "Pal." He goes, your facial expressions were great, your selling was great, and your promo was great. I have no choice but to hire you. I'll be in touch. And he shakes my hand. And I'm like, thank you, sir. I didn't know what else to say or what. And as I'm leaving Gorilla, Triple H grabbed me. He goes, hey, man, he's not kidding. He's going to hire you just like that. And I'm like, whoa, really? So 6 weeks goes by and I didn't hear from him. And Vince called me himself and said, hey, pal, you ready to come to TV next week? And I went to TV the next week and he signed me. And now we were off to the races. And I was on TV every week for a couple of years. It's nuts.
Yeah.
My story's so different than anyone you probably ever talked to. So.
Yeah, that is amazing. When you think about it too, it's like, is Vince serious? Like, you know what I mean, right? Is it like, or is he blowing smoke? Right? You got wondering.
Well, I was thinking maybe after like the second or third week, then 4 weeks, then 5 weeks, he forgot about me. I did a good job, and he thought I did a good job, and he was just excited that but nah, he did. Vince Vince McMahon is the only guy in the history of the world to make billions of dollars with a B off of just this wrestling stuff. He's the only one that's ever
Yep.
done it. So he sees things that people don't see, and he saw something in me, and I'll always be very grateful for that. and and man, like it worked out for me, it worked out for him, it worked out for his company, and he was very from the beginning. He was very like, "Hey, pal, we're gonna give you a couple years, and then we'll see you every now and then. We'll bring you back every now and then." I go, "Well, sir, what if I do really well? Like, can I stay?" He goes, "Yeah." Like, we can't beat you up every week. You'll get stale. He's like, you're not like a normal thing. He's like, but man, you'll be on everything for a couple years, and he's like, then we'll bring you back every now and then. He's like, trust me, and I just, obviously he's not there anymore, but like I really liked working for him, and he was always straight up with me, and he was always very nice and very business like. Um, so yeah, like he gave me my dream, so I won't ever knock the guy, So
Right, right. And he kind of, makes some good points just as far as what he saw, right? I mean, he said you were selling well. He liked what you did. You did exactly what basically, I guess, Arn was telling you to do. But also, you were on the indie scene for years, and you know your craft, so you were able to, right, give him what he wanted.
yeah, man, I was very lucky and fortunate that I had good training. I was trained by Axel Rotten, who was an ECW original, a world traveler,
Yep.
had did wrestling for a living. Um, and I tell people that want to get in the business, I always say find someone who was successful in business to train you because they've been there and done it. So you want to learn from those people. Like, and,
Yes.
that's my advice that I give the younger guys if they come up and ask me. That's what I say. Find someone that has done this for a living to train you. Like, and I think that's the best advice. Like, Booker T school, or there's Devon Dudley school, or Gangrel trains people in Florida. Like, there's so many out there. Like there's Brian Myers, who was Kurt Hawkins in WWE. He's in Long Island with Pat Buck, who works for. I think I know he's worked for WWE as a producer and AEW as a producer. Like there's
Yep.
guys out, that schools out there, man. Like where you could find people that have some TV experience and all that. And that's what you want. So luckily, I had that. I had really like Axel was very underrated as far as his mind for the business. and I was lucky to have him as a trainer. So that's where that stems from.
With Vince, right? Like meeting him, is he intimidating? Like, what was he like back then when you're having conversations with him?
Man, like for me, it wasn't intimidating because I got a kick out of, oh my God, Vince McMahon's all of a sudden my boss. Like everything, because I was in high school during the Attitude Era, so I was a little kid during the Golden Era. So I remember the Golden
Right.
Era. I
Yep.
started watching in like '88 when I was like 4 years old. '89 I was 5. So I watched WWE in its peak of like the Golden Era, then the Attitude Era. In the Attitude Era, I'm in high school, and Vince McMahon's is the best heel character of all time when I'm in high school. And I'm thinking when I was in high school, I'm thinking, man, I'm going to work for this guy one day, and I kept telling myself that. So like when I started working for him, I'm like, wow, like this is what I always thought would happen in my life. Like it's crazy, and he was just so I don't know, like he can be intimidating, yeah, but not like I wasn't intimidated by him because I just got such a kick out of this is the guy I'm working for, like
Right.
and that's what I always wanted. So I was just happy to be there. I loved everything about it. I have nothing bad to say. Like it was great, and I appreciated working for him. And he was, like I said, he was just very businesslike, in which this guy had a million things going on in just a day, and when he would take time out, hey, this is what I want, and like he would say nice things like you're very instinctive, you have good instincts, just go out there and feel it like you've been doing, and this is where I want you to go with it, and whatever I was doing, and I was like, yes sir, and yeah, like intimidating for me, no, but I could see how people would think that about him for sure.
So when you start working there, right? You said it took 6 weeks. In those 6 weeks, were you thinking like they forgot about me, or were you actually thinking like they're writing me in, or what I mean? They're getting me ready.
I thought he forgot about me. I did because he's the one that told me. I just thought maybe he just liked what I did and it was cool for a second for him. And then by the time he left the arena, he was like, just, but maybe he had second thoughts or whatever. But now, man, like I said, he's the one that picked me, right? So he was very hands on with me because he's the one that picked me. And I didn't like go through NXT, which I always wish I did because they have time and money invested in people who went through NXT. So you're more likely to stay around longer if you went through their system because of the time and money they spent, developing you. So when I got signed and went right to the main roster, obviously I was ecstatic and I was happy. But I always in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I'm always gonna be the chopping block because I'm just like something that just happened that Vince just picked out of nowhere, and I'm not really a part of their system. So,
Yep.
but yeah, like to answer your question, no, I thought, after 6 weeks, I did think he forgot, but he sure as heck didn't, and I always appreciate that. So.
In those like time periods, do you contact me at all? But like, hey, by the way, Vince said that he's gonna hire me. Just wanted to check in. Like, do you do that or no?
So I would like contact the people in talent relations at the time and go, hey, and like I was still like trying to like pitch being an extra, like and I'm like, hey, I can make this town, this town, this town, and they're like, well, you're not really an ex. They would say to me like, you're not really an extra anymore because you're like this famous meme on Twitter now, on the internet. Like they're like, I don't know if you're seeing this stuff, but like if you can't come out and be a security guard if we need a security, we can't
Yeah.
book you as an extra anymore.
Yes. Good
Like
point. Yep.
it's either we're going to sign you or maybe we'll see you every now and then. But I don't even know if Vince really tell those guys ahead of time or whatever. But man, once I got there, man, they were all so cool. And but yeah, I was still, yeah, to answer your question, yes, I was still trying to like, hey man, yeah, I don't know, like I got good, and I didn't say to them like, hey, Vince said he was gonna hire me. I just said, hey man, Vince like said some kind things afterwards. I'm hoping to get more opportunities, and still picture myself as an extra essentially.
Right.
So.
When you think about it, right, and that those memes happen and stuff like that, are you thinking like this is unbelievable? This is the big break, or were you thinking you're actually going to get it? Where, like, you know what I mean? Where you kind of just like, well, I guess it's just I'm just going to be the meme guy.
I was thinking, well, Vince already said, see, like the internet thinks, because the internet's always right, right? The internet
Right.
thinks they got me hired. They didn't. The Vince told me right after the match he was going to hire me.
Right.
But
Right. Yes.
I do feel like that it hurt things that I became like this thing on the internet. Like it might have helped things. Like Vince might have been looking at it, and people might have been showing Vince or whatever, and Vince was probably thinking, "Oh, see, I'm right about this kid. Like people are already, invested into him. So when I bring him back, this is going to be great. Like it probably helped, but it's not the reason why I got hired. But now a lot of people think that you got hot on the internet and they hired you. Like, no, like Vince has hired me because he thought I was good at what I was doing. And but I loved the memes and appreciate them. Thought they were funny, and yes, I feel like it helped. Once I came back to TV 6 weeks later, I think it helped me get reactions and all, and keep people me fresh in people's minds. So
Were you shocked at the memes? Like, was that a surprise to you?
no, I mean, dude, I'm very self-aware. Like I know I look different than most people. Like I don't look like a normal dude, and I get that. So like I'm like no, like if I seen a goofy guy on Raw getting beat up by Braun Strowman, I'd probably laugh about it too. And but it was like it was a good laugh, but it was funny. One of the ones I remember the most is they would show me like with a Money in the Bank briefcase. So when I stole the Money in the Bank briefcase for Carmela, I remember retweeting that meme from like a year and a half prior. It was like, you guys used to make fun of me and you were making these memes, but I turned it into a reality. Like, and it was like me with the Money in the Bank briefcase for real. So it
Yep.
was fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I have thick skin. I don't care what anyone says, right, wrong, indifferent, funny, haha, whatever. Like nothing, none of it bothers me. Nobody on the internet bothers me. So I'm very lucky in that aspect too, because you got to have a thick skin. I really feel in wrestling, and if you don't, you're going to be in a world of hurt because everyone on the internet gets talked about bad in the wrestling community, which is crazy. But um, now for me, like I really have the thickest of skin, and none of it ever bothered me, and I did get a kick out of all that while it was happening. So
When you get brought in and like you're being used, who decides James Ellsworth? Like that you're not going to be Jimmy Dream or anything like that. Like who makes the decision there?
well, that was me because when I did the match with Strowman, I couldn't be Jimmy Dream. It sounds too gimmicky. You got to use a regular
Mm.
name when you're an actor. I said, well, and my real first name is James, and my middle name is Ellsworth. And I always thought the name Ellsworth, my middle name, was cool. I always thought it was like different. So I was like, oh, can I be James Ellsworth? And they were like, oh, okay, whatever. Like they didn't think anything of it. So they
Oh
just,
wow.
it,
Okay.
it, yeah. So I picked it, and then like my real last name is Morris. So when I signed the contract, I put James Ellsworth Morris, and they were like, why are you putting your gimmick name on there? I'm like, no, that's my middle name. So I don't think they really caught on to like that was like so that's why I could use it everywhere because it's on my birth certificate.
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. You didn't have to pull an Ultimate Warrior there and change your name.
uh,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah, you can
my
just
name.
you can own it outright. It's very smart, very very good. That's great though too. That they're just like, all right, sure, James Ellsworth sounds great, right? They don't give you an argument over it. That's great.
No, they really well, okay, because I'm just like I was supposed to be a guy that just got beat up real quick and never saw again. So they're like, okay, James Ellsworth, that sounds cool. Whatever, just kind of like whatever. And yeah, it worked out in the long run for sure.
So the Braun Strowman thing to me, it's like the great way to kind of break in. Everybody remembers you. The memes, I mean, you become very memorable. The catchphrase and everything else. But beating AJ Styles, that's kind of like a whole new ballgame because he's the man that runs the place, if you will, the face that runs the place. He literally was dominating SmackDown. He was kind of like the main reason SmackDown was a good show, maybe the better show than Raw at that point. And you're beating him. How does that all come about? And that's got to be shocking to you.
Well, yeah, it was crazy. Like, so my first SmackDown, I was supposed to team with AJ. If you go back, you could find the match graphic on the episode of SmackDown there in Philadelphia. It was like they did an angle where AJ was looking for a partner for the night. He was the champion at the time, the heel WWE champion. Wasn't getting along with anybody in the WWE. That was the angle, and they're like, oh, you need a partner tonight to face John Cena and Dean Ambrose. And Daniel Bryan, who was the general manager at the time, said, if you don't find a partner, we will find one for you. So he's looking for a partner. Everybody's saying no. Everybody's saying no. And Daniel Bryan's like, AJ, did you find a partner? And he goes, no. Who do you got for me? And he pulled me in. And it was my first time back since the Braun Strowman match. And I remember the place just erupted. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I got Gorilla for the match, and the Miz wound up being AJ's partner. He beat me up on the stage and stole my spot.
Right.
So, but real quick backstory: I get in Gorilla, and Shane McMahon was like, "Dude, you got such a big pop. This is awesome. I'm so glad you're here." And I never met Shane to this point. Like, again, Shane's a guy I loved from when I was in high school and he was on TV being Vince McMahon's little, twerp son, like when the Attitude Era. Like, so I
Yep.
loved Shane. That was the first time I met him, and he's like talking about how I got this pop. But anyway, yeah, like the Miz beat me up before the match on the stage, and he wound up teaming with AJ. So they said, hey, man, we're going to bring you back in a couple weeks and you're going to face the Miz in a match because he just beat you up. And I'm like, cool. So I came back in like a month, um, and I get the TV, and I'm thinking I'm wrestling a Miz, and I've been watching Miz matches for a month. I'm like, oh my god, this could be so easy. I've watched 100 of his matches, like, and he's really easy to work with. So I get there, they're like, hey, change the plans, you're wrestling AJ, and I thought they were kidding. I'm like, yeah, he's the WWE champion. I'm not wrestling him, and so again, and then AJ came up to me in catering that day. Goes, "Hey pal, me and you tonight, and you're winning. You're beating the WWE champ tonight, just joking around." And I was like, "He's kidding, whatever." And then it wasn't until I got to the ring for rehearsal before the show that I saw the sheet that said James Ellsworth against AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose is going to be the special referee. And I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, and I looked at that, I go, holy crap, I am wrestling AJ and I am going to beat him because Ambrose is the referee and he's going to cost him the match. Like, you know, and I was like, dude, this guy's the best wrestler in the world at the time, WWE champion on top of his game. Like you said, um, SmackDown was better than Raw, during those days. And a lot of that's because AJ Styles was the WWE champion on the show. And man, yeah, I was like, oh man, I've been here. Like right away, I got so nervous because I had so much respect for AJ Styles. And I never worked with him, so I was so nervous. And it wound up being so fun. Every time I worked with him was so fun, and he made me so comfortable after being nervous that first time. And just the best thing ever happened to me in wrestling was working with AJ Styles. So.
He seems like he's very humble too. Like he doesn't care. If he's gonna make a good story, he'll go along with it.
He gets it. He gets it. That's I mean, to put it just very short and simple and sweet. He gets it. So
And from a fan perspective, it was shocking. First of all, you're getting a match because Miz took you out the week before, so it's like, oh man, what the hell? Like, oh, that was a good appearance. It's like, whoa, now he's back. Okay, here we go. And then you shockingly beat AJ. Very shocking from a fan perspective of like, wow, what is going on here? Ellsworth is he's getting dubs here over the best wrestler in the world. This is this is crazy.
yeah, it was crazy, and it was a lot bad. Every town we did that in, like I wrestled on TV, and I can remember the towns. The first town was San Jose, California. The second town was Denver, Colorado, and the third town was it was in Ottawa, Canada. The latter match I did with them to win my contract. Um, and then there was a fourth town in Detroit. But every town we did it in, the crowd was so up for it. They were so invested in it, making noise the whole time, and that's what you want. You want people that are into what's going on, and they were into it, and that's why they kept running with it. They didn't want to book me against him, four times in a month and a half, but they did it, because it kept working. That the ratings were doing well with it, and the people in the crowd were making noise and popping for it. So they kept doing it until it ran its course.
When you wrestle him the second time to go 2-0, were you shocked at that point too? Are you surprised? Like, I'm going over again? I know, albeit via DQ, but still
Yeah.
another win. So you're 2-0 against the world champion.
Yeah, it was a WWE title match, so I'm like, well, I'm winning my
Yeah.
WWE title match. It's not, I'm not winning the belt because of DQ, but I'm like, for me, this is something I have on my resume for the rest of my career. Like the rest of my wrestling career, I can always bring up how I beat AJ Styles 3 times, and everyone knows who AJ Styles is in the wrestling business. And then, when I say I beat AJ Styles 3 times, people go, "Oh yeah, I remember that," and then they get a smile on their face, and it's nostalgic, And it's like I said, man, great to have on the resume. It was a lot of fun doing that angle. AJ was a pleasure to work with. I owe a lot to that guy, and I know it. And he couldn't have been more cooler. He's WWE champion at the time. Really, he could have probably told Vince, "Dude, why are we doing this?" Like,
Right.
let's. But he didn't. He gets it. He gets it what it is, and it was entertaining, and people are enjoying it, and he understands wrestling more than most, and just absolute pleasure to work with.
When you look at it too, TV time. I remember I was talking to like Barry Horowitz and a bunch of different guys about how much time they were actually on TV and like TV time, and they were kind of really putting that over. Not just like, oh, I fought the champ, but the amount of time you're on TV too. Like the match with AJ is long. I mean, so you're getting like a bulk of the TV time during this point. And when SmackDown
Doing a
was,
lot of backstage.
yeah,
Yeah, SmackDown was on fire at the time. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, dude. I'm very aware that I was very fortunate to have that run it's with all the great talent that was on SmackDown. We had a great show, man, and what a locker room! Like everybody was so cool, and we knew we were crushing it. You felt the vibe, or if we're just killing this. This show was awesome. And a lot of people talk about SmackDown 2016, 2017, and then it had a good like year and a half of it was just the best wrestling show in the world, and it was a pleasure to be a part of.
even Cena was doing great then. Him and AJ had that big feud too. Even that was great. But to me, I was so interested because it's like, oh, Dean Ambrose versus AJ. That's kind of like, I don't know, play by numbers. Like that's an obvious direction. When you get thrown in, that's like the ultimate kind of curveball because nobody saw that coming with that direction. Because you think it's just going to be okay, AJ Ambrose. Kind of here's the feud. You're going to have it back and forth. But you kind of shake that whole thing up, and that to
Mm.
me, that's what made their feud more interesting. That you were involved in it.
Oh yeah, it made it gave it more longevity.
Yep.
And then, and I was away out of finishes for it, like where they didn't have to, one guy didn't have to bury the other by beating them because I accidentally cost, like, one show I accidentally cost Ambrose the match. And next show I cost, AJ the match. So it's like I'm the way out of them getting buried, like, or pinned
Yep.
or, or made like a clean cut finish, two top guys. And very entertaining stuff, man. Dean Ambrose. I miss Dean Ambrose. I know he's John Moxley on AEW. I get Dean Ambrose, the lunatic fringe. That character, awesome character, very underrated. I miss Dean Ambrose, and I'll leave it at that. What a great character that was.
When you go back to that era, right? Like obviously Ambrose, AJ, like you, who is actually the writer? Because I know Vince is in charge, but what's Road Dogg writing at that point, or who was the writer in charge of SmackDown then?
Well, Road Dogg. When I was first there was the guy Ryan Ward who's still there. And then Road Dogg started being the head writer of SmackDown, and then we had other writers like Jimmy Jacobs was there at the time, and yeah, it was a bunch of writers. But the head writer during my time was, I believe it was Ryan Ward. Then it went to Road Dogg while I was there.
So the ladder match, you mentioned it before. You win the ladder match, you win the contract. Technically 3-0 versus AJ to start it. Are you getting like shocked at this point? Like, what the hell is going on here? I'm like on fire here versus the best guy in the world.
Well, I appreciated it, but at the same time, I'm like, I've been watching wrestling too long. I'm like, all right, I'm getting over in this guy too much. Like,
Yeah.
so something's going to
Yes.
happen to me. You know what I mean? Because I've been watching my whole life. So, but the ladder match out of the three was my favorite. It was a lot of fun. The crowd was. We were in Canada, and the crowd was so loud for it. Like that was probably my favorite match from my WWE run was the ladder match with AJ on SmackDown.
And it's a huge win if you think about it. I mean, that's huge. You get even more TV time there. You know what I mean? You're getting a good chunk of TV.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Memorable TV. There's a lot of guys
Yep.
that's got a lot of chunk of TV, but didn't do. It's about the moments. Wrestling's about the moments, and if you have memorable moments, wrestling fans will remember you forever. Doesn't matter how long you've been there or whatever. If you got to have at least like a handful of memorable moments where they go, "I remember when you did this." I remember like we're talking about now, and I was very fortunate to have a lot of those moments while I was there, and I appreciated all of them. And like I said, there's been guys that have been on WWE for 10 years and they don't have moments like that,
Right.
and then once they leave, nobody remembers what they did, So I'm very lucky that I did have memorable moments.
So you know it's coming though. You know you're getting your world title match against AJ, but you know he's going to get his comeuppance, if you will. He's going to get the win finally against you, right? I mean, you know that's bound to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been watching wrestling too long, and I mean, my record against him is 3-1, so that's pretty good. That's 75%
Amazing,
of the time I was beating him. So it's
amazing.
yeah, I didn't like how they wrote it off. I thought he should beat me, and he should beat me pretty handedly, but like it was like weird the way they did it, and like nobody remembers it, and it wasn't a memorable moment. Like, and then they just like quickly moved me to Carmela right after it, which I was fine with because I'm like, all right, here's more TV time. I'm not off the show. I'm still continuing to be on the show, and
Yep.
Carmela stuff winded up being really good as well. So, but I like the run I did with AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. I don't know if I'll be able to ever top that. Honestly, that was great.
Do you think those should have been a little bit of a longer match, or like what do you think kind of should have been the finish there? Because it was really short.
Yeah, yeah. Like I just think he like the match was very short, and then he just beat me up a bunch afterwards, right after the
Yep.
match.
Yep.
The way and we're all Monday morning quarterbacks, right? I just felt like he should have beat the crap out of me, for the match, and then pin me. Like he should, like it shouldn't have been. He beats me real quick, and then he just beats the crap out of me after the match. I think he should have just beat the crap out of me during the match the whole time, and then beat me, and then throw me out of the ring, and he's done with me. Like it was, I just thought that was a little odd, but that's just me, But I think it could have been more memorable. Like it was just weird because he beat me real quick and with like a backhand. They wanted it to look like he just knocked me out quick with a backhand, and he was like, and even he was like, yeah, let me just hit him with the Styles Clash and pin him. Like I didn't care. I don't like, dude. It's wrestling. I don't care about getting buried or what. Like I'm not. I
Yeah.
wasn't getting buried. Like they already had me beat the guy 3 times. Like he needed to beat me. And he needed to beat me handedly, and I understood that. I just wish they would have just like had him beat. Like I didn't want any offense. Like I wish they would have just had him beat me up for you know, the match and not after the match. Like beat me and where it's like, please end this, please end this. Like it would have got him heat. They're like
Yep.
cheering because they're like, oh, this needed to happen because like this guy, like AJ Styles is very respected by wrestling fans. So I think like the smarter wrestling fans, like the smart marks they call them, got tired of me beating them, and I don't blame them, And so when we're in Detroit, which is a smart mark town for that last match, and they were cheering him hard. And I'm thinking, I think it would have got him more heat if he would have just kept. He could have ended the match at any time, but just kept beating me
Yes.
up.
Yep.
Like, and then because you work the wrestling fan, they're not supposed to work you. You're supposed to work them. And then during like if he's beating me up for 10 minutes and he could have pinned me at any time, eventually even like the smart mark fan sitting there laughing, that's gonna go. All right, that's enough. Just pin him, like, and I don't know. That's just the way I would have did that, but whatever.
Or
Like,
or even like you could take a slip on a banana peel and there's like a quick cover, but then he kicks out. Like there's a couple hope spot moments where you can really kind of like tease it, like, oh my god, he might win again. Why is AJ playing with him? Just end it already. Like that kind of storyline too. They could have done throughout the match.
well, yeah, I mean, I got that he just had to beat the crap out of me because I made a mockery of him with Dean Ambrose and all that. So I
Yep.
got why he beat me and I didn't get any offense. I'm not complaining about that at all. Like I just thought he should have beat the crap out of me for a while, then, acted like he was going to beat me and didn't, act like he was going to beat me and didn't, act like, and then finally just put his finger on me and be done with me. Like, that's all. But I mean, that, like I said, that was the least memorable one out of them all. So it doesn't matter really in hindsight. Um, but
I know. I feel
again,
like some people, I feel like forget though that he gets the win over. You know what I mean? Like it's almost forgotten that he won the last match.
that's what that
Yeah,
they're like, when I see people like today in public, I'm at the grocery store, like, hey man, I remember you beat AJ Styles 3 times. They're like, they're not going, hey man, I remember you beat AJ Styles 3 times, and then he beat the crap out of you that last time. They don't remember that last time. Like, you know, it wasn't as memorable as thing. So
yeah.
but again, he was such a pleasure to work with. I had a great time with him, and I hope before he retires, I could do at least one more thing with him. So.
I would love that. That would be great. You mentioned Carmela. You're also in the Royal Rumble too, so that's another nice thing for the resume, right? Being in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, the Royal Rumble is my favorite pay per view, so that was really neat. And I was born on the 11th, so I was number 11 in the Royal Rumble. So that was cool too. That's my favorite number. I was born on the 11th, my lucky number. And I even told Carmel, I was like, I'm going to get number 11. She's like, there's 30 guys in it. You're not going to get number 11. Like, there's like a 1 in 30 chance that happens. And when I
Right.
got number 11, she was like, what the? I'm like, I don't know. Told you. She's like, you knew, you know. I'm like, I didn't know until the day of when they won over the match. I was like, I didn't know
Mhm.
what number I was. So it was
Just
funny.
by happenstance, you didn't ask for it. I'm guessing, right?
No, no, oh no. I try not
Hmm.
to ask for anything. I just let whatever they give me. I just did my best with.
So with Carmela, obviously, they put you guys together. Is there any explanation to you, like why they're doing it or what they're doing, or they're just say we're really trying to get her over, as like the next big heel for the women's division?
Well, they weren't doing much with her. She was like getting beat up by Nikki Bella all the time, and her story was with Nikki, and Nikki like beat her in every match. So they didn't really have plans for Carmella. So she was pitching ideas. And one day we're overseas, and this is what I'm still doing, the AJ Dean Ambrose stuff. We're overseas and doing some house shows, a tour, a couple week tour in the UK, and I've met Carmella in passing a few times before this. Just said hi to her in the hallway or whatever, and she comes up to me out of nowhere. She goes, "Hey James, I had this idea about pitching after you're done with your thing with AJ and Ambrose, of you being with me and like you helping me win matches, and me acting like I like you, and that's the reason why you're helping me win matches." And like me at the time, I'm like, "Oh, cool," like I'm like, "All right," and so I, the way I heard she came up with that idea is like the girls were in the locker room talking about me one day, like, "Oh, I wonder what they're gonna do with this guy going forward," and one of the girls said, what if they put him with one of us? That'd be funny. And Carmella didn't say anything. And she took that idea first to me to ask if I was cool with it because she didn't
Yep.
know me and I didn't know her. And we talked, and right away we just became so cool right away. And then she went to Vince when we landed back in the States, to do TV. She went right into Vince's office, and she came out with a big smile on her face. I was like, he loved the idea. He loved it. So I think that transitioned me to heel pretty quickly after that. And yeah, he loved her and I together, and it paid off for her. She got the Money in the Bank, and then won the title. And who knows what I'd have done if they didn't do that. Maybe I would have just been written off sooner, or maybe I would have moved on to something else that would have been better. But you know, in hindsight, I loved what we did. I loved that I did my job as a manager and got, because when you're a manager, your job is to take your talent that you're managing to the next level. That's your job. It's not about you anymore. It's about how can you give them the rub that they need to get where they need to go. And I'm like very selfless like that. I'm like, I'm gonna get this girl over. I like that's what I kept thinking. I was like, I'm gonna get this girl over. I'm gonna get and mission accomplished. And then once I left WWE, man, she never won the women's world title again. So you know what I mean? Like that was us together that did that, and and
Yes.
she did some cool stuff when I left. She still was entertaining and winning women's tag titles, and she won like the pre-show girls WrestleMania Rumble thing they used to do on the pre-show, and like she did a couple of things, but it was never that magical run she had with me where she won the belt, the Money in the Bank, and all that cool stuff. So
The thing with it too, I thought was a huge heat magnet was, oh, it's the first ever women's Money in the Bank, and you helped her win it, so it kind of goes against like the woman, and that not only got her over huge, and I feel like people still mention it today. I'm like, wow, they still don't get it. Like that's was the whole point of like getting her over with like he won it. Oh, but the woman is supposed to win. It's the woman's Money in the
that's
Bank. Like,
why you do it. That's
yeah,
why you do it.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. It was
yeah.
just tremendous heat.
Just a great Vince idea. Just a great Vince idea. And we always knew we were going to do the second Money in the Bank ladder match before we did the first one. So he was like, "Oh, we'll do this, and then we'll do another one on SmackDown 2 weeks later, and pop a rating off of it." Because I interfered, they had to redo it. And he's such a genius, man. It's funny how people try not to give him credit. Monday Night Raw is on right now because of his vision.
Yeah,
So
of
it's
course.
like, I don't know. I get it when it comes to that guy. So.
And the crazy thing is too, that got her over to the point where she could be the world champion. You know what I mean? Where when she cashes in, she has so much heat, she could be the women's champion.
Yep, and then they, I was with her during her reign, got her through the Oscar matches, and then when it was time for her to lose, they wrote me off, like because like I really shouldn't be there if she's losing. Is the way they
Yes.
explained it. Which I got. So great stuff, man. I had a great run. I loved it. And hopefully, in the future, you'll see me back there doing more if I just pop up every now and then, or if I come back and they, I don't know, put me with Raquel Rodriguez or something, just or whatever they did, like it. Um, I left on good terms, and over the years I've spoken to people there and stuff. So, um, nothing but love for WWE.
Were you surprised at the release at all? Like when the release happened, was that a surprise to you?
Yes and no. Like I was surprised, yes, because I felt like I got over as a babyface. I got over as a heel. I was always getting reactions, and no, because like I said earlier, I didn't go through NXT, so they were bringing people up. So when you bring people up, some people have to go. It's
Yep.
business,
Yep.
and I was always on the chopping block because I didn't go through the system, and I always got that. But they actually never really released me because when they did, they brought me back really soon, really quickly, and they just continued my contract. So I never was actually released. Like I did my whole contract. So my contract just expired. That's all.
Oh, it's one of the things where they just don't elect to re-sign after the contract is
Yeah.
up.
So they didn't resign me, but they never officially released me. They just didn't resign me, and which a lot of people don't know that either. But that's the way it went. So.
It's kind of like what happened to Carlito and our Truth. I know our Truth ended up coming back, but same thing. They just didn't re-sign them. It's not that they got released; they just their contract ended.
Well, Carlito's contract's up. Our Truth's contract never ended. I think that was a kind of an angle. I don't think
Oh,
that was.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. But because like when he tweeted out that his contract wasn't up yet, and I think they did that to get some buzz on Money in the Bank for like when he did the reveal and all. It was great how that all went down. I thought, but and yeah, 'cause he's so universally loved. But yeah, man, it's just business. I get it. They never had to hire me in the first place, and they did, and gave me some outstanding television moments that are gonna last forever. And was I shocked? Not really. Was I like a little disappointed? Of course. And I thought there was still some juice to squeeze out of the character at the time, but it was it was what it was, and I feel like it eventually, like, dude, Carlito, you just named Carlito. He was gone for 13 years before he came back. Like I've been gone 6.5 now, so I'm halfway to 13. But
Yeah, true. True.
yep, you never know, and I do feel like at some point I will be. So
That would be great. Great idea to maybe throw it out there. Maybe if Carmela returns, which could happen, that maybe you could be her manager again. Something.
Never
Something
know,
out
man. You never know. You never know. You never say never. And I feel like at some point I'll be back. I really do.
Did you ever have any issues wrestling Asuka or Nikki Bella or Becky Lynch? Or did you ever have any issues, or was that just it was great because you were getting so much heat wrestling like some of the females?
Oh, I loved it, man. It was entertaining. Like, and they weren't doing intergender matches at the time. And I remember I said like they didn't want to do them, and I was like, well, why not? Oh, a guy and a girl fighting. It's not. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not. Am I really a threat to these girls if I'm fighting them? Am I really a threat to them? And they're like, well, no. I'm like, well, it'll just be entertaining and fun, and it was. Like the match I had with Becky Lynch on SmackDown in London, awesome, awesome stuff. If you go back and watch it, and the stuff I did with Oscar was real cool too. They're all great to work with. But no, I get it. It's a show, and I'm going to do whatever they give me to the best of my ability, and I have no problem wrestling. A man or a woman or whatever. Like it's all the same to me. So.
So as we